Welcome to How Preschool Teachers Do It.
I'm Cindy.
I'm Allison.
And we have a combined 55 years of experience working with children, families, and experts in early education.
We are not random influencers.
No, we are not. Whether you are new or have been our podcast peeps since 2018, we are thrilled you found us. Hi, preschool peeps.
Hi, peeps.
I feel like it's been a minute since we had a recording day.
It honestly is.
I know.
Canceled out the last
Like,
one.
you all know we do recording days, right? Because we're wearing the same clothes in multiple episodes.
Yes. Yeah.
But I do, yeah, you had to cancel once.
I had to cancel because Rusty, my dog, got sick. And so I think it's been 2 months.
It may be. We may be a little rusty.
I
get it. Also, while we're talking about pets, we're going to give a little disclaimer. About 2 weeks, actually exactly 2 weeks ago, my husband and I adopted a cat from a wonderful cat cafe in Asbury Park, New Jersey. I'm going to give them a shout out. I don't know how they're going to feel about that, but I'm going to do it. Catsbury Park.
Yeah.
Yes, Catsbury Park.
Yeah.
Wonderful cat cafe in Asbury, New Jersey. I will probably tag them. I'll send this episode to them when it releases.
Yeah.
She has already learned. She's super smart, smartest cat we've ever owned. She already has learned, and Allison can tell you, as soon as I start talking to this screen, she goes to sleep.
Yeah.
She's already figured out I'm not going to get anything fun or good, and nothing good's going to happen right now, so I might as well go to sleep. She does sometimes test it, though, and wake up from her nap and walk across the screen, but she's quiet, and it won't bother us, and so we decided to just proceed. So we are proceeding, and we're going to do that like we have been doing, with shouting out different places in the country and in the world where we have listeners.
Yes. So today we are shouting out the people of Hong Kong. So hello, everybody over there. And the people of Charleston, South Carolina.
Have you been to Charleston?
I have not.
Me either. Why have we never been to Charleston?
I don't know, because I hear it's lovely.
I've heard that too. Yes. We're going to have to make that a point of that at some point.
Should.
Maybe not together. You know, we don't always travel together.
Yeah. But we could. And when we do, we'll shout you guys out again. We'll make a little video.
There you go. We really could. So thank you for being among our preschool peeps, and tell your friends and neighbors. And you never know if you're going to get a glimpse of a cat now.
That's
when
true.
We're recording.
Well, I mean, Rusty's been on the podcast.
That's true. Long time ago.
A long time ago, yeah. So,
it was during the pandemic when we had no choice but be with our pets.
Yeah, and he would be like right here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, yeah, he's got a little separation anxiety, so.
Yeah, that's what happens when they come from these situations. Yeah. But that's not why we're here today. We're
Correct.
here to talk about something that we need to do with children to help them with eventual reading and writing, but also listening and speaking. So those are the 4 types of vocabularies. Children are building 4 types of vocabulary. Basically, simultaneously, they're building their speaking and listening vocabulary, and then they start to head into their reading and writing vocabulary. Reading vocabulary happens pretty early because we read to them.
Yes.
And then writing vocabulary as they head more toward the elementary school years, right? Yeah. But we have these 4 distinct categories of vocabulary. We all do. There are things that, slang, for example, that is said that I'm never going to write or read in a book. There's slang or certain phrases for certain areas of the country where I have to listen and know what they're saying, but I'm probably never going to use it myself.
Correct. Yeah.
It's not part of my speaking vocabulary. So there's, we all have these little nuances in our vocabulary, things we know when we hear it, but we don't say it, things we say, things we read, things we write. Right. When I think about reading and writing, it's things like therefore, however, in addition to, right? These things you read in writing, moreover. Yeah. You don't hear a lot of people saying moreover when they speak, unless,
they don't say it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So children are building these vocabularies, and the first one they really begin to build is the listening vocabulary, which, interestingly, according to the research that's done by the Association 0 to 3, that starts at about 30 weeks pregnant in utero.
Yeah. That kind of makes sense.
30 weeks pregnant, the child, they have studies that show that the baby in utero can recognize their mother's voice and that they respond. So when the mother starts to speak when you're still pregnant, there's a response from the baby over other voices that it may hear in utero. So it's starting to listen before they're born. And then once they're born, we start to do all that cooing with them and making noise, and they imitate it, and we talk with them, certainly, and we use words. We need for them to begin to hear like the individual specific sounds of language. And there's a couple of ways that we help isolate that for them, that through this episode we want to encourage everyone to do, both at home and at school, because it's really important that they hear these things. And one of those things is called alliteration.
Yes.
Wasn't alliteration part of one of those Schoolhouse Rock things? I think it was.
Yes. But can I remember it right now?
No, me neither. But I think it was part of the grammar one, maybe,
yeah.
or something. Yeah. So alliteration, for anyone who doesn't know what that means, it's the repetition of the same sound at the beginning of words, like Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Yeah. All those S's.
Yes.
So what happens when the children hear that is they begin to isolate that sound in their hearing and recognize it and listen for it. There's lots of other alliterations too, not only Sally sells seashells.
What's the one about the woodchuck? How much
wood does a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? Yeah. That's both alliteration and ending sound.
And rhyming sound.
It's not so much rhyming, chuck chuck. It's
how
like
much wood
kind of woodchuck chuck.
It's a play
it's repetition.
It's a play on words.
It
the
is.
The word wood
chuck,
and
woodchuck.
Wood. Like,
but it's it's also like just repetition.
Yeah.
So they do need repetition.
Yeah.
They need alliteration.
Yeah.
The other thing they need is rhyming, and of course rhyming is when the ending of the words sound the same.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit first about alliteration, why it's helpful, give some people ideas other than things we know. Isn't there's a turtle alliteration? Something about Tommy Turtle. Oh goodness, I'm not going to come up with it.
There is. But I'm mixing it up with another song that I sing about a turtle taking a bath, and that does
That's not it.
That is not it.
That's definitely not it.
But that's the only one I can think of right now. But there is a tiny turtle. Something I don't know.
So I have a resource. I have a resource. I'm looking over to the right on YouTube. I wish I knew where this resource came from. Unfortunately, it's not attributed, but I am looking at a resource that I can put on our website by the time this episode releases. It'll be there if it isn't already, because I think we've talked some about alliteration already. But we're gonna, we always get new listeners all the time, and it's a good reminder. So it says that children benefit from alliteration because by learning to identify and pay close attention to the sounds and words, they're going to be able to discern how different words vary in their pronunciation. This is not only about here's what the letter S sounds like, but also words vary in their pronunciation. So they're listening for that.
Yeah.
And it helps children think about reading in a different way. They pay closer attention then to the sounds of certain letters when they're grouped together. So what we're doing with alliteration is we're grouping sound, right? I wish I could think of more. Sometimes when I'm teaching professional development, I ask the participants what other alliterations they know, and they put a bunch of them in the chat.
Yeah.
And now, of course, I'm blank.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look up alliteration preschool and see what the Google says.
What does the Google say?
What does the Google say? Let's see. Series of words start with the same sound. There are printables online and everything. No, those are rhymes, folks. That's not alliteration. Ant, apple, astronaut. You'd have to come up with some kind of poem or something. I'm going to put famous alliterations.
Famous alliteration.
Everybody's waiting for me to do this now on the podcast. Famous alliteration.
Oh,
here we go.
Here we go.
Betty Botter bought some butter, but she said this butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. But a bit of better. Wait, I lost it. Oh no! Here we go. Okay. Here I got it. Here I got it. Ready? Betty Botter bought some butter, but she said this butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. But a bit of better butter, that would make my batter better. I like it. Silly Sally swiftly shooed 7 silly sheep. The 7 silly sheep Sally shooed. Silly sallied south.
Shilly
shally south. These sheep shouldn't. I can't say it.
These sheep shouldn't sleep in a shack. Sheep should sleep in a shed.
Wow. Okay.
Oh, there's
here's seashells. There's a football one.
Game.
Franks and fries and French fondue, beans and burgers and biscuits too. Chicken, chili, and cheddar cheese. When I munch too much, I always sneeze. That's fun.
That's fun.
All right,
It reminds me of, like, there's a brain break that I do with the kids, and I don't know if I'm allowed to say this person's name that does it, but he's very, very famous in the preschool brain break world. And he has a video that the kids dance to. Yeah, I think you kind of know who he might be. He has one, and he goes through the whole thing, and he'll like clap out the sound. It's like, it'll be like, I can't remember what he says, but like it's all B words, and then it's all like D words, and the kids are, but it's like made to a dance.
I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen it.
Yeah, so like there's that kind of stuff out there too, that people are making, not just these older ones like Mother Goose ones, like new ones.
Yeah, Betty Botter's butter was Mother Goose, but here's one that we should have known. Ready?
Known this one.
Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, how many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick?
Yeah.
Why didn't we think of that one?
Because we
all right, that's a famous, such a famous
That's a very famous one. Yeah.
There are also games that can be done that are on our resource. It talks about a color game. When you're driving, look at what is within your view and shout out the color, and then ask your child to come up with a person, place, or thing that has the same beginning sound.
Smart.
So, like, for example, if you are at a red light, you shout out red, and you'll say something like red rose, red robin with a red rose.
Yeah.
And you can come up with these alliterations yourself. There's the name game, of course. Where once you've got a name, you ask your child to come up with as many words as they can using alliteration with the name of the person you've chosen. Oh, look, I'm the example. If your name is Cindy, that's weird. If your name is Cindy, your child can say words like scissors, super, soil, all those S words.
Couldn't you sing that whole very, very old song, The Name Game? The Name Game, Bonnie, 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 Bo Bonnie, Banana, Fana, Fo Funny, which is alliteration and rhyming at the same time, right?
I was at a professional development session. Someone brought up the name game in another context, and the person who was running the session said, yes, the name game is great for a bunch of reasons, but if you're going to do that, don't just sing the game. Point out the letter you're repeating. Talk about the sound of that letter. Give it more context than just doing it. So if we were doing, for example, Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, we would afterwards say to the children, what sound did we hear?
Right.
And we'd be like, we heard P, P, P. That's the letter P, and show it to them. Go from the words to the sound to the letter, which is different than how we learned literacy. But we've talked on the podcast before about the fact that we learned it in a way that didn't teach it to us effectively or efficiently. Where if we go from the word to the sound to the letter, it's more efficient for children. Also, animal game. If children like animals, it's a nice way to sneak in learning. So you say something like, I have a horse whose name is Harry, Harry the horse. Then you do one with dog. I have a dog whose name is, and it has to start with D.
Like Dustin. Yeah,
Dustin.
I have a dog whose name is Dustin. Dustin the dog. I have a cat whose name is Cleo.
Right.
Cleo the cat.
Right.
Not you.
No. Sadly, no.
But
in real life, I don't even want to say it. She's sleeping.
Yeah, she's sleeping.
So that sort of alliteration is super important. Also, rhyming, which I think doesn't require as much explanation.
Right.
But it's important to know that rhyming is important to emergent literacy skills to read, because it teaches children about language. It helps them understand word families. And for those of you who are maybe like, word families, I kind of remember that phrase from elementary school. It's words that end in the same sound. For example, let, met, pet, wet, and get are in the same word family. And rhyming teaches the children, of course, the sound of language, phonological awareness, the ability to notice and work with sounds in language, phonemes, which are the small units of sound that make up words. So they begin to separate the other parts of the word from those letters at the end, right? That words have phonemes, and then that will lead to words have syllables eventually. So it also teaches them to listen for patterns and structure of both spoken and written word. So there's lots of things that we do with rhyme all the time. I did it, just did it. We do it with rhyme all the time. Yeah. And I think that there are times when I've been in classrooms with children and I've rhymed, even accidentally rhymed, and the children will go, that rhymes. That's a rhyme by the time they're in pre-K.
That's usually how I do it, is either when we're reading a book, if the words rhyme, I'll point out, oh, did you hear how that sounds the same but also different?
Right.
Like cat, hat. it sounds the same, but it's also different.
It's also different.
Just point, or if we do it on accident on the fly, like, oh, I just made a rhyme. Like, I think pointing it out in all these like little scenarios, these little situations that we naturally already are doing,
right,
it'll get them more interested in it.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think we want them to be interested in it.
Yep.
And we have the age-old nursery rhymes.
Yep.
Be careful with them. Some of them are less appropriate than others.
Yes,
we now know.
they have not aged very well.
They really have not.
Yeah,
so be careful with them.
Yeah.
They tend to be they promote stereotypes, and they tend to be violent, and so just be careful.
Yeah.
Reading books, of course, that have rhyme is very important, but you can also make up rhyme anytime with children, and the rhymes don't have to end a sentence. They can be within sentences.
Right.
There are examples on the resource I'm looking at, like, did you ever see a cat in a hat? Right?
Yeah.
You ever see a cat in a hat that has a bat?
Yeah.
And even within that one sentence, we've rhymed several words. We pointed out the word family without saying this is a word family.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Without it being a lecture. And they have other examples on the handout, things like there's a duck riding in a truck.
Oh, yeah. There's whole books on that.
Right.
Duck in
a truck.
Yeah.
Books. Ring and swing, rake and cake.
Yeah.
I mean, you can come up with them and put them within the same sentence.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be separate.
Right.
And I think once they're 3 and 4 years old and they can help us do it, it's so much fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
More fun than that for me is when we're rhyming and it's all going really well, and then I ask a child to rhyme and they don't. They just don't. They just like their minds go somewhere else. I don't know. We're doing like there's a cat in a hat with a bat. Your turn. I saw a bat on the playground. Okay, now we're off.
Yep, welcome to the preschool world.
Yeah, now we're off on a whole other topic. And when children do that, just go on the other topic. Don't sit there and make them do the rhyme. Because what it does is it turns them off.
Yeah, and I think it also shows we're not really interested in this right now.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's okay when they're not interested in what we wish they would do. Right?
Right.
So lots of rhyme, lots of alliteration.
Yeah.
What else do we want them to do? Lots of question and answer during stories. That builds reading comprehension. Lots of asking them questions about that connect what you're reading to real life, if at all possible. Yeah. Because children relate better to anything that's read to them when it's connected to real life. So, for example, if you have a child who really loves to play with cars and trucks, and you can do that through rhyme, talk to them about that through rhyme and or alliteration. Right. That would be great. These alliterations and rhymes in an early childhood program are great for transition time. It captures their interest. You're likely to get fewer challenging behaviors during transition time if the children are being educated and entertained, right? So it's a nice way to walk from one place in your program to another, or go from one activity to another. They're also really good for when children are sitting and doing those sort of daily basic care routines like toileting or waiting for the toilet or eating a meal or a snack. We've got their undivided attention. We might as well do some alliteration and rhyme. Right. At home, sit in the car and talk to the children and do this sort of thing. Yeah. Or when you're sitting in a restaurant waiting for the wait staff to bring your food, do this instead of looking at screens as much. Yes. I know everybody looks at screens. I'm not unrealistic about it. But sometimes we need to put them away and do something like this, right? Nice way if you have to wait in line with your children for anything, because children don't wait well, but then again, neither do adults. So anytime you have to wait, just whip out an alliteration or a rhyme, and they'll be amused by it. Yeah. Okay, folks, we're going to let you go think about that. We always try to make these episodes short enough that people who have short commutes can listen, because people have told us that they like that. Yeah. Please tell us what you like and what you want and what you've done. And if you know other alliterations or rhymes, send them on in. Yeah. You can do that through our website, howpreschoolteachersdoit.com. We have a contact form on there. Mm-hmm. We also have a Facebook page for the podcast, How Preschool Teachers Do It podcast. You can contact us there. Allison's going to move her head for a second, because if you go to YouTube, if you take a look, first you'll see what we're wearing in the next several episodes. Yeah. But also, you can go and hold your camera up to the QR code, and that gives us the links to all of our stuff and things. All the things are linked there, and then you can contact us and let us know. We love, love, love hearing from listeners, and we do frequently. We do. Yeah. So thank you for contacting us. and we will catch you next time on the podcast.
Bye, peeps.